than they ever have. And you really have an opportunity to impress people with work ethic and values and integrity and passion than what you had back in the day. But those rules still apply. I want
to make one observation about
Yeah.
that. There's something missing in our society today. I didn't make observations later. I was just telling you factual things that happened in my life. But I'm going to make an observation. I'll give you an opinion. That I think one of the worst things that ever happened to this country was when they invented the iPhone and texting and those things, where people don't get together as a group in person, face to face, and talk out a problem nowadays. They text each other. Sometimes they're not traceable, and people say things they shouldn't say. They're mean. They're brutal. They ruin people's lives. I just like it the old way. Maybe it was slower, but I don't text. I don't use my phone very much, and I generally don't call anybody. They have to call me. But I mean, that's just me. I just don't like it. Go ahead.
Well, you talked about your meat market, and you were there for 27 years, and I know that was a very successful business venture. I've always said you had the golden touch because you were successful there. And was it retirement when you opened up your hamburger restaurant here on Balboa Island?
Well, we'd retired for...
of course.
I retired when I was in my 50s. And, no, I guess I was in my 60s. Close to, I think 70. Because we retired for 2 years. I bought a boat and drank beer and played golf. And it was a useless life for me because had been busy my whole life. From the time I was a little kid, I was busy working, doing something. I worked for cesspool diggers and worked for windlass, worked for a roofer, did all that stuff. So I was always busy being active and doing something worthwhile. And the fact of just getting out in the morning and not having a reason and not being productive. So one morning, my wife was down there on the Balboa Island, and she said, there's a place down there for lease on the corner by the ferry on Angus Street. She says, why don't you go down and look at it? I said, why should I do that? She says, I think you need something to do. She said, you're just not the same. You need a challenge. So I went down there, and I went back into business on a handshake with the guy that owned it. He and I had parallel activities in our lifetime. So I stayed there another 17 years. And then I invented a couple of products for law enforcement, like the quick release gun bags and the pepper spray holders. I did that for a number of years. And then I finally retired in 1988. And since then, I keep busy. My family's large. I have a wonderful family. One of my grandsons is here with me now, Jim Riley, and he's a very successful brewer of beer and wine from Mexico, and he does so many other things. I can't name them all. Well, he's been a race car driver, still is, but he's moved on for that. Raced in the Baja 1000, the Mint 400. He's raced all over, and what is that running?
Well, we do some Spartan races, and I appreciate you bringing some of my successes up. But I want to touch on a couple of things because you.
Well, just let me say for that, he's world champion from Iceland. He competed in Iceland. He's world champion in his field.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jack. People that listen to this show, they've heard me talk about you because whether you knew it or not, to that level, you've always been an important person in my life as it relates to being an entrepreneur, because you taught me a lot of values. You talk about that hamburger restaurant you opened up there on Balboa Island because Mel said you needed something to do, but thank goodness you did, because not only did you teach me and my other two brothers, Mark and Scott,
and the Stuffed Surfer.
Yep, you had the Stuffed Surfer there in Newport Beach. But you taught values to us as young adults who were 13 years old working for you, making hard cash, which we appreciated because we liked the cash. but you employed a number of people, and you shared your values that you talked about, working hard, working efficiently. You talked to us about, using both of your hands to get a job done.
Mm-hmm. And a job's only worth so much time.
Yeah.
I know that I still see some of the girls on Balboa Island that were working when they were 17, and now they're grandmothers. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And they'll go up and they'll throw their hands around my neck. Jack, how are you doing? How's your wife? How's Mel? And they don't say Mr. Linscott, because I never had anybody call me that, because we all worked with each other, not for me.
Yeah.
They worked with me. And I always used to draw them a pie. And I said, now here's the business. This is the pie, and I'm going to slice it, and I'm going to show you what. I said, for instance, I'm going to hire you to work here with me. Now, we sell hamburgers, but unless we sell a drink and French fries, then I don't need your help.
Mm-hmm.
So when you work with me, and when somebody orders a cheeseburger, and you say, would you like fries and a drink? By just saying that, you have created a job for yourself. Because there's more to the order than just a hamburger.
Yeah.
So that's what makes a business go. So this part of the business belongs to you. This part belongs to me. This is the cost of doing business here, and show them the food cost, so that they understand. They learn what the relationship should be between an employer and an employee. That was the most important thing they learned. They've told me when I see them on the island, they say, you taught me more about business than I've ever known in my life since I worked for you.
I feel the same. And, I think a lot of business owners could learn just from that simple lesson by teaching their employees how important they are to the operation and what value they bring.
They don't seem to hand that out anymore. I don't know why.
No.
Things evolve.
What's interesting is a lot of the girls that worked for you came from families that were extremely wealthy.
Oh, yeah.
But they knew if the kids worked for you over the summertime that they'd learn these values. And as the one mentioned to you, that those things stick with us for life.
Oh, Jim, I think you remember Annette Johansson.
Mm-hmm.
She was the heavyweight fighter Ingemar Johansson's niece, and she was Miss Sweden's cousin. And then there was Ida Freud. She was a model for
Quicksilver.
She was a model for McDonald's. And there was another girl who was a Jordache girl, and they were all models and beauty contest winners. There were guys that come to me and said, "I'll work for you for nothing."
Well, weren't we the lucky ones, because we were the three boys that actually got to work for you. You also brushed over a couple of your inventions. You talked about the breakaway holster for the police departments. You went on the road, in your 70s and 80s selling breakaway holsters, which was an incredible invention. The pepper spray holder. The cell phone holder. You invented a cell phone holder. I think I remember you sold that to AT&T. You weren't one to sit around.
No.
And even today, I'm very proud to tell my friends that you spend a lot of your time, as we talked about in the beginning of this show, teaching high school students about World War II and what it was like back in the day. And I know that they're grateful for it, and if they're not today, they will be later on in life.
Well, I do teach that in the school. One thing I teach in college, high schools, and middle school, so I have to tailor my speeches around the age groups But I try really hard to be a teacher. That's what I really like to do. I think probably in my lifetime, had I started over, I think I would have been an educator. I like that part of it.
Well, I remember a lot of years working for you, coming home together here in Newport Beach, and getting a lesson every night around the dinner tables.
Oh, yeah.
You were definitely a teacher, whether you called yourself one or not. Jack, we kind of need to wrap this up a little bit, and I think we probably could do 10 more shows with you because of the wisdom. But what advice would you give young people today, looking back at your life and thinking about what is important? And I know I asked you this last month, but I'd like to hear it from you again. What advice would you give people nowadays?
Well, you should learn 2 words that I learned as a Boy Scout when I was a little boy. Be prepared. Now, those are just 2 little words, but I have used that my whole life because you have to prepare for life. You have to be ready for opportunities when they come around. You have to be prepared for hardships or failures. Most of the time, you're never going to succeed unless you've maybe failed a few times. I think that this is an old saying. I'm going to give you a couple of cliches now. They've been used, but they're very true. Is life is what happens when you're making plans. But you have to understand that this day is only going to be here once. Don't destroy your body. Don't pick up a habit that is going to be easy to create, but extremely hard to give up. Why mess up your life? If you just stay away from that stuff, you'll be successful. Who doesn't want a successful life? Who doesn't want to drive a nice car and live in a nice home? You'll never have any of those things unless you keep a clean body and a clean mind.
Good advice. You talk about doing what you love as well.
Yeah, don't be too quick to rush into a job that you might be doing for the rest of your life. Because if you like what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. Instead of getting up in the morning and going to work and saying, oh my God, I've got to go in again, do this again today. I get so tired. I can't wait to retire. If you're doing something you enjoy doing and are interested in, you'll be going to work and glad to get there because you'll be enjoying your day, doing something you love. So be careful what you do. Get your education. There's another very important thing, too. They talk about college isn't for everyone. I think you have to be evaluated. I believe in going to college, but I believe that college isn't for everyone. I think that, and especially in the country today, we need people who can work with their hands and be I'm not saying, I'm just an example, a carpenter or a mechanic. And if you're a mechanic today, you have to be a computer expert. Being a mechanic just isn't changing tires. It's a career.
Yeah.
We need all those people. We have jobs that we need to have filled in this country right now. We don't have people to fill them because we don't have the people to do it that know how to do it. And anyway, those salaries are big now. There's people I know that have college educations. They can't make a living.
Yeah.
Because there's no need for what they learn in college.
We need more tradesmen and women.
Tradesmen, that's right.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm amazed at how much money. I don't even go out to eat dinner anymore. I can't afford to pay $40, $50 for dinner. I can't imagine that.
Jack, you taught me at an early age to save money, and that's always been an important part of my life. Matter of fact, hard lesson at the time, but so grateful for it today. I went to you at an early age to borrow money, and you said, I don't lend money to family. And, to me, my needs selfishly seemed like the most important thing. But you taught me to get yourself out of your own troubles, save anything you can when you can. This is back in the 80s. I think you suggested even if I saved $25 a month in a savings account that it would add up over time. And I'll never forget that. That was a great lesson, and I think that's something that you taught me early on to save a little bit.
I learned that from my Uncle Chester when I was back in Carthage, Indiana. He owned a newspaper and a hog farm out there, and he was rather frugal. He said, I'll tell you a little secret, Jack. He says, when you make money, set aside so much every month to save, and then take a small amount and go out and buy something you don't really need.
Mm-hmm.
He says that way you'll never be in